Hello there, and welcome back to a Minecraft tutorial, although this is a very simple thing, so I don't know if it's really a tutorial, but it's sort of like an explanation, I guess. As usual, I'm editing my other videos, and that takes me a little while, and so I wanted to put out a short, unedited video in the meantime for you guys. And this video is about these path blocks, these grass paths, that were introduced in one of the 1.9 snapshots, one of the earlier ones. If you don't know, in 1.9 and its snapshots, if you take a shovel and right-click on grass, you get a grass path. Now these are pretty much aesthetic. That's all they do on their own. They're just that. I mean, the only functionality you can get from it maybe is if you put a hopper underneath and you have an item drop on top of it, it'll suck it through the block because they're technically less than a full block. But we already had soul sand and slabs and things for that, so a lot of people complain that it was only aesthetic. They like the aesthetics, but they wanted it to do something. And one of the common suggestions I saw was that since it's a path block that should be usually between bases or between villages or whatever, it should be able to make you walk faster when you're on it. And so I made that happen. It's really simple, just one command block, but let me show you it in action. If I run on here, and then I hit the path block and suddenly I go faster. And then once I'm off, I go slower again. And it works whether I'm running or just walking. If I do that, it goes faster. So it'll get me from one place to another faster if I follow the paths. Now obviously all I'm doing is once I get onto the path, I'm just giving myself a constant speed effect, in this case speed 2. Of course, you can modify it to speed 1 or speed 5 or whatever you want it to be. I just thought speed 2 was the perfect balance of not being overpowered but also being useful. And it's just constantly refreshing that like a beacon, except only 1 second instead of 8 seconds like a beacon does. And all I'm doing is this. I'm executing on all players at their position to detect 3/4 of a block below the grass path of any data value. That's what this -1 means, that the data value doesn't matter. The reason I'm using 0.75 instead of 1 is because, like I said before, the grass paths are actually not a full block. So if you're standing on a grass path and you detect 1 block below, you're actually going to be checking the block below the path instead of the path itself. So you have to go slightly less than a full block down in order to actually accurately detect that you're on a grass path. So 0.75 for a grass path, and if it finds that you're standing on a grass path, it applies an effect to the nearest player to you, which should be you. Effect 1 is speed for 1 second, and it's amplifier 1, which means speed 2, because amplifier 0 is speed 1, because that's how programming works. And then true is just for hiding particles. So normally when you get an effect with like a potion or something, you get those particles, those swirlies. If you put true there, you don't see them, which makes it, I think, less annoying. If you had particles every time you were on a grass path, it would be annoying. So in this case, it hides them, and it also hides it from up in the top right corner heads-up display, which for those who don't know, in 1.9, let's say I disable that and leave the particles. If you look in the top right corner, you'll see that icon. All your status effects now show up as icons in the top right corner as of one of these snapshots for 1.9. But if you hide the particles with that parameter there, it also hides the heads-up display icon. So this way it's just completely unobtrusive. You can still see it in your inventory, which is good because you don't want your players not knowing what they have. But it's not obtrusive when you walk onto and off of the grass path, and it speeds you up. So yeah. Again, if you want this in your world, make sure you're playing on a 1.9 snapshot, or if this is the future, then 1.9. And that you just run this one command, which I will just go over here so you can pause the video and look at it. It's very simple. And just throw that in a repeating, always active command block. And then just make your paths by right-clicking grass with a shovel. And it does not work on dirt, by the way. If I took just dirt, like down there, it doesn't work. It only works on grass. So it's a grass path, not a dirt path. And if you put anything above the grass path, it turns into dirt. So keep that in mind. But yeah, so the functionality that some people had suggested is actually very simple with a single command block. So if you have the ability to put command blocks in your world and you want that, you want the grass paths to speed you up, do that. And again, this amplifier can be something other than 1. It can be lower for speed 1 instead of 2, or higher, whatever you want. So that's about it. So until next time, keep running on your grass paths.